Central Indiana-based Republic Airways flying high after a big business deal with another regional carrier. What it all means for the Indy Airport, aviation, and the impact on the city of Carmel. Terre Haute in a zone. Mayor Brandon Sakbun breaks down what's happening now and what's next for the Wabash Valley. Plus, the Indiana connection on how simulation is now playing a big role in getting more nurses in the mix. And
we have engine ignition.
Small town Indiana aiming high. The story behind Taylor University in Upland and its link to launching satellites in space.
Republic Airways. Welcome aboard.
Inside Indiana Business is next.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. Presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Another shakeup in the airline industry, and this one with a direct connection to Indiana. Carmel-based Republic Airways and Phoenix-headquartered Mesa Air Group agreeing to a merger bringing together two of the largest regional carriers that operate for the big airlines like American, United, and Delta. If it passes shareholder and regulatory muster, the deal has the potential to continue Republic's recovery and reshape the nation's regional airline industry. The deal means Carmel-based Republic Airways, which filed for bankruptcy in the midst of a pilot shortage in 2016, would again be a publicly traded company, and a much larger company as well. The combined airline, which would operate under the Republic flag, would create the nation's second largest regional carrier, with a fleet of 310 aircraft and projected revenues of nearly $2 billion.
Back in about 2013 or so, we had more or less 15 or so regional carriers. Now we have 10 and decreasing. We have also some issues with Air Wisconsin. That's another regional carrier that flies exclusively for American Airlines, and they laid off 500 employees last week. They are getting out of the scheduled services. So in other words, we will have probably that carrier exiting. And I believe that in the longer term, we will be on the road to having, let's say, maybe not more than 4 regional carriers.
Republic has more than 6,000 employees, more than 240 aircraft, and an Indiana footprint that includes a $200 million corporate campus in Carmel, a major aircraft maintenance center at Indianapolis Airport, and the Lift Academy, an innovative pilot training program. Republic shareholders would control 88% of the combined airline.
It's a fantastic deal because if they're going to step out of this with a larger combined fleet. And if they do it correctly, which I have a lot of faith in Republic because they're wonderful airlines, a smaller combined expense. So they're gonna merge HR and they're gonna merge management. They have a facility over here in Indianapolis, a maintenance facility. They may even consolidate all their maintenance in one facility, which makes a lot of sense. And Republic has invested a lot into this community. So we're probably expecting the gravitational pull to be in this direction rather than towards Arizona.
As mentioned, Carmel playing a big role on what's next for Republic Airways. The company is planting roots in Hamilton County, continues to do so in a big way, building a $200 million corporate headquarters along US 31 in Carmel. It's a big campus, and a big part of the campus is a new state-of-the-art training center, which opened in 2023. It houses 8 full-motion flight simulators with room for 2 more, including a full cockpit experience that mimics actual flight. It's all part of a strategy to address the pilot shortage gap, which could hit some 30,000 within the next decade. The training center, a major part of Republic's overall campus experience, which is expected to open in 2026. I spoke with Carmel Mayor Sue Finkam on a most recent Business and Beyond podcast about why Carmel has become an attractive place for corporate headquarters and how US 31 plays into the equation.
We talk about our incredibly talented workforce. 75% of our residents have bachelor's degrees, and at one point we were the highest or second highest number of master's degrees in the country. We're the 5th lowest tax rate in the state of Indiana, which is the 5th lowest state as far as 5th most favorable state in the country for our property tax environment. Indiana pales in comparison to Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois to the number of Fortune 500 companies. So we feel like Carmel And really, only Carmel is positioned for regional and national headquarters, and especially along that US 31 corridor. It is a opportunity galore for the next 20, 30 years to redevelop that space. Finding redevelopment opportunities and investment opportunities along that corridor is absolutely critical for us.
Well, coming up next, we head to the Wabash Valley to see how the gamble on a new casino is paying off, plus other investments reshaping Terre Haute and the region. Well, 2024 was a year of change in Terre Haute, in the heart of the Wabash Valley. Good look there at the Vigo County Courthouse. Terre Haute got a new mayor last year, the youngest in the city's history. New downtown development that included the Larry Bird Museum. And 1 year ago this month, the opening of a highly anticipated casino. In its first year, the Terre Haute Casino Resort generated just under $100 million in revenue. In February alone, the casino's gaming revenue topped $10 million, doubling the earnings of some other regional casinos like the French Lick Resort. Terre Haute Mayor Brandon Sakbun says those numbers are having an impact.
We're using that gaming revenue, right, the tax off when you're gambling and playing, to increase our sidewalk inventory, pave more streets, demo condemn homes, build a new YMCA or partially fund, invest in our Deming Park pool, which is a huge component of our quality of life See You in Terre Haute plan.
At 28, Sakbun is the state's youngest mayor and says his first year plus has been a learning experience, points to new housing projects and new public-private sector partnerships as major accomplishments.
In that short year, we had over 300 new housing units receive funding from that program, not to mention almost 100 more with no funding. Look, our goal is to hit 3,200, 3,300 new housing units within a 5-year time span. You are seeing almost $75 million in private funding come to the city of Terre Haute's downtown for a town of 60,000. And when you let that sink in, that's a great ratio that you want to hit. And I'm thankful for all the private developers who have invested in the city of Terre Haute.
But for now, the region's biggest economic development project, Oregon-based Entek's planned $1.5 billion EV battery component plant, it's on hold, pending further review from the Trump administration. Sakbun's message to D.C., if you want to make America great again, you need to invest in Terre Haute. Time now to get caught up on other headlines making news around Indiana with Mary Rachel Redmond.
Here's what's making news around Indiana, brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors, the neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Two sides to President Trump's tariff playing out here in Indiana. Temporary layoffs are coming for auto workers at Stellantis facilities in Kokomo. The company not saying how many of its 6,000 Hoosier employees will be impacted. In all, Stellantis is planning to lay off 900 workers across the U.S. Meanwhile, a different story at the GM plant in Fort Wayne. Reuters reporting the company is boosting production by adding 250 temporary new jobs. The Fort Wayne facility makes models of the Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra pickup trucks. Turning our attention to companies like Smoker Craft Boats in New Paris, Indiana, part of the state's robust advanced manufacturing and logistics sector, responsible for 37% of the Hoosier economy and employing more than 1/4 of the state's workforce. Connexus Indiana, a nonprofit on a mission to make the state a global leader in manufacturing, has a new leader, CEO Jay Wirtz. He recently spoke with Inside Indiana Business about goals and challenges.
The second is workforce development. And that's really focusing on, upskilling workers, upskilling employees so that they can adopt technology, which can help drive productivity around the state.
Wirtz begins his new role at Connexus on Monday. Now to Northwest Indiana, where developers have plans to build a new $40 million warehouse that could bring hundreds of jobs to Gary. The city has been looking to transition the Buffington Harbor property located on Lake Michigan to an industrial site following the closure of the Majestic Star Casino. The plan is to build a warehouse distribution center there and break ground by June. In Morgan County, big money invested in new and improved Martinsville Armory. The Indiana National Guard cutting the ribbon on a $7.6 million renovation that's not only expanded the Armory's size, but also included upgrades to restrooms, showers, and mechanical systems. It's the first major work done on the facility since it was originally constructed in 1958. The Martinsville Armory supports training, logistics, and administration.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
South Bend honoring a historic civil rights leader with a new community space. The Martin Luther King Jr. Dream Center has computer labs, a commercial kitchen, and much more to support residents and connect them with resources. More than $27 million has been invested in the project.
It's shaping the future of South Bend, and I really do believe that this is going to be a hub of excellence and opportunity for our community, and it's one for the community, by the community, and I want everyone to embrace that.
The Dream Center's new location was formerly home to Linden School, a historically black grade school. Final improvements to the site are still underway. Gary?
Great things happening in South Bend and around the state. Thanks, Mary Rachel. Well, up next, meet the Indiana chef and his winning recipe that put him in the global culinary spotlight.
The flavors in this dishes were unique and different. It simply left the judges begging for more.
What winning one of the most prestigious food competitions in the world means for Colin Hilton and the restaurant group he works for.
We have to find ways of changing the way medical education works.
Western Governors University with a unique way to train future nurses through simulation. WGU opening its first state-of-the-art clinical learning and simulation center here in Indiana. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta has the story.
Well, thanks, Gary. This is really significant. WGU previously rented lab space around the state, so this is a huge step forward for a bigger, better training space. The new simulation center in Indianapolis will help WGU meet its goal to train 1,000 new nurses in the next 3 years. The Indiana Hospital Association says the state needs 5,000 more nurses by 2031 to address the nursing shortage. The new $5 million center has state-of-the-art patient simulators that help build students' confidence before practicing with real patients.
If students are picking up on cues, then we can make the patient have lower vital signs, like maybe drop their blood pressure a little bit and show some symptoms with that, so that we can lead the students into, oh, these are the things I need to be watching for. So we're building that critical thinking.
The Indiana Chamber says the state faces a growing nursing shortage with thousands of open positions each year. Via helicopter in rural parts of the state is getting an update that could save lives. Ascension St. Vincent has installed a red Stat Flight button in 9 of its hospitals in rural communities. The button in the emergency room immediately summons a chopper to transport a patient from the rural ER to a higher acuity hospital for specialized or critical care. Ascension St. Vincent leaders say the button cuts 10 to 12 minutes off the time it takes to transport the patient. And a Ball State University student with Duchenne muscular dystrophy is making his music dreams come true. Ethan Adderson is working toward his master's degree in professional conducting. He's always wanted to experience the magic of being maestro, but he can't lift his arms to conduct. Adderson is improving an assistive technology that involves attaching the baton to his glasses and moving his head to move the baton. He debuted the technology just days ago at a recital at Ball State, where he thanked the volunteer musicians, his professors, and parents for their devotion.
They're the most selfless people I know. And I hope we all recognize that we need more individuals like this. This performance symbolizes hope for many of us with disabilities and stands as a testament to the importance of accessibility in the performing arts. Thank you for being here.
And Adderson hopes his project turns up the volume on his message that more people with disabilities should be in the music industry. They just need the tools.
I know, Kylie, you're going to take a deeper dive into this great story at InsideIndianaBusiness.com.
That's right. On Monday, we'll have a web story. That actually, what you saw is only half of his technology. There's another half he's developing that is very, very high tech and very cool.
Great story. Look forward to it. Thanks, Kylie. Well, Indiana is now home to a world food champion whose career impacts several restaurants across the state of Indiana. We stopped by Cunningham Restaurant Group's test kitchen in downtown Indianapolis to meet chef Colin Hilton.
And that leaves us with one. Our new 2025 World Food Champion is Colin Hilton.
Getting up there on front row and having it announced, a huge relief.
From Italian to Asian and all the unique experiences he had while perfecting his craft in Northern California as a young chef.
Colin Hilton is chef de cuisine for Indianapolis-based Cunningham Restaurant Group, overseeing menu development across the brand.
Day-to-day basis, get to cook some stuff, get to taste a lot of great food.
Hilton's journey to the Final Table Kitchen started right here in Indianapolis, which hosted the World Food Championships for the first time last year. After winning the noodle category, Hilton traveled to Arkansas for the final table.
The judges were clearly excited as well.
Yeah, so thank you. Great execution. Yeah, congratulations. You made it this far in this competition.
The parameters were your culinary journey. Did pasta, just because that's kind of where we're at right now, whether we want to be together or not. We all need to eat. So what a cool avenue to base your career off of, where you can kind of be part of the catalyst that brings people together.
He showed the perfect balance of art and technique that define a great chef. Congratulations to Colin Hilton.
Colin won $150,000 for taking that top prize. And by the way, the World Food Championships are coming back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds in October. Well, coming up next, the connection between small-town Indiana and the galaxy.
3, 2, 1.
We bring a high-tech company into a very small community, which is bringing some high-tech jobs into the area.
Why Upland, or why not Upland, Indiana, to serve as a hub for business in outer space? The story and the link to Taylor University when we return.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Well, Purdue University is celebrating 2 groundbreakings in 2 weeks. A $187 million academic success building will be the first new building for Purdue in Indianapolis. Meantime, groundbroken for the new Mitch Daniels School of Business building, which will be the second largest classroom space on the West Lafayette campus. Purdue also announcing it will freeze tuition for the 14th year in a row, meaning undergrad tuition will still be just under $10,000 per year for in-state students. Well, Taylor University here in the tiny town of Upland in Grant County continues to do great things. Population there, about 4,000, but they're making big waves in outer space. More now on the Taylor connection to putting small satellites into orbit.
2, 1. We have engine ignition. Main engine start.
Near Space Launch is a company that builds small satellites and then radios for space and in orbit. So we've launched about 400 systems in orbit in the last 5 years.
Near Space Launch, a small company headquartered in Upland, Indiana, is fueling innovation in outer space with the help of engineering talent at Taylor University. Near Space now the largest manufacturer of small satellites in the Midwest, a market that's been growing in a big way over the past decade.
Usually there's a 2 to 5 year window to build and get a process into orbit. We're able to do that in 60 to 90 days. Usually you think of satellites that can be the size of cars like Starlink and SpaceX. The ones we build are smaller than that. So this kind of would be a small satellite right here. This is called a 12U CubeSat. So there's CubeSat whole industry. So each of these are different cubes. And you can pack a lot of great technologies in there. If you think of your cell phone, you can pack, things are shrinking in technology, the Moore's Law, and just how can we bring more of those technologies into a smaller space and utilize it well.
Drawing on engineering talent at Taylor and other Indiana universities has helped propel Near Space Launch's success.
Yeah, Taylor, why not? No, it's a fantastic spot that we've loved. Both the founders worked at Taylor.
Taylor University's rigorous and comprehensive engineering program prepares students through project-based, career-focused learning.
We work with high schoolers and university students to train them about space. And then over the years, some of them come join us on mission and to do the space work as well. So there's a great amount of great talent around here.
Near Space Launch, its roots embedded in small town Indiana, its mission to space making an everlasting mark on science and technology and helping educate the next generation of explorers.
They can be curious and learn and wonder about what's beyond us.
The ultimate goal when we talk about pathways to space is that last step.
getting a student from where they're at to having something actually fly in outer space.
People have a natural interest in the unknown and to go where no one has gone before and what is actually out there. So I hope they walk away with that. You want to make discoveries, you want to change the world.
Cool technology at Taylor and in Grant County as well. Finally this week, an Indiana winery giving the big dogs in Napa and Sonoma and some others on the West Coast a bit of a run for their money. Oliver Winery in Bloomington has grown into one of the 30 largest wineries in the United States and one of the largest in the Midwest. Now, I caught up with Oliver Winery CEO Pat Brown to get his take on competition, Oliver's niche in the marketplace, and what's behind the company's success.
Most of our products are very, very innovative, and they're different than what, say a Napa, winery would produce, right? Our latest two innovations, we have a Cosmo Berry and a Dream Berry, which is a layered flavored red that tastes like a Cosmo. And that's just something Napa probably is not going to produce and ship anytime soon.
Oliver Winery CEO Pat Brown on how the wine business works, the challenges, and what's next for Oliver Winery. It's on the Business and Beyond podcast. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Inside Indiana Business. We leave you this week with a sneak peek of what we've got planned for our Business at the Brickyard special all month long in May. Racing action like this in Southwest Indiana at the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.
Deeds will cash in the lunch money and get after it as they work off into turns at 1 and 2. Who will have the advantage? They work onto the back straightaway. Justin Grant. He will take the NOS Energy number 4 up into the top spot as they come around to complete lap number 1. Grant in command of this one. Robert Ballou trying to hold on to second. He's got Kevin Thomas Jr. knocking on the door along with Mitchell Moles. Moles not able to make the run. Neither does the 3R. Ballou going to get them elbows out and get that car wide. Justin Grant up front trying to hold on to the race lead. He's got it. Here comes KTJ to the inside at the line. He will have the advantage by 0.015 seconds over the Madman. Ballou going to fall to the third spot. Now Moles running in fourth, running a bit. That's going to be Logan Seavey. Seavey up to the outside of the speedway, lurking down to the middle. It's going to be the Avante Windows and Doors number 3, P.O. Kyle Cummins. You'll ride in 6, Brady Bacon at 7, C.J. Leary, Chase Stockin, and Hayden Reinbold right now going to round out your top 10 as Justin Grant starting to open up his advantage here as they work through turns at 3 and 4. Slide job. 2 of them going to make their way by Ballou that time. White flag is out. Kevin Thomas that time had to wait on the car at the exit to number 4. Takes her up to the outside through turns 1 and 2. Robert Ballou.